I was always told not to talk about my immigration status, and I was told to be silent about a lot of my identity, whether it was overtly or not. Being Christian, you're not supposed to be queer, which is part of the reason why I make the jewelry that I do now that states it so clearly. My name is Solis, and I am a maker of small objects. I make necklaces, pins, brooches, earrings, objects that have to do with gender identity or other parts of my own identity or the identity of my community. So I am queer and I am undocumented. When I was 6 years old, my mother and my brother and I migrated to the US. We lived most of our childhood in Riverside. It was very conservative, very Christian. Both of my grandfathers were pastors. I think I always knew that I didn't fit into heteronormativity. I didn't have the language for it until college. I wasn't out about my immigration status. I thought I would get kicked out of school or that I would have to start paying out-of-state tuition. I couldn't get financial aid, so I didn't talk about it until there was a rally. It was like a undocumented students rally, and somebody was just on a microphone just being like, I'm undocumented and I don't care if you know, and it blew my mind. I was so surprised that somebody was so okay with disclosing that and they were safe. So I felt a little bit more open about it after that. I started making the jewelry that I make now in the early pandemic. I was feeling like my craft that I was working on before wasn't really lining up with my activism work or really my values. The pandemic really forced me to sit down and think about what I wanted my stuff to say and do. I wanted my craft to feel like it was part of my identity. So I started making those up there. The one that says Wawa Chuyita. Wawa is a child, but in Ecuador it's sort of like a slang word. Chuyita is a creative person from Ecuador. For me, like I was saying, it was such a secret to be all these things that I don't know, I imagine it's that difficult for other people too, and maybe some immigrant kid that's like struggling because they've been also told to be silent about their identity their whole life, or that queer person that's also religious that's been told to not be that way. Then it shows that we exist and we're okay, we're alive, and not alone. If somebody finds this random piece of metal that says they, them in maybe 80 years, and they say, what is they, them? Why would you have to use that? Then I've succeeded, I guess. It just gives me hope to know that someday these things won't matter anymore because we're beyond it, and they can be melted down and become something new.